Well, clicking in. Well, there you go, folks. That's Radio FM88 Australia. It's Thursday night show with Priti, Pauline in the UK, our co-host, and our guest today is just south of Sydney and north of Canberra and just west of Wollongong. It's in the, I suppose, the Highlands there in the National Park there. And I'm not going to say who it is because I'm going to leave that to Priti. And it's a good morning to you in the UK there, Priti.
Thank you very, very much indeed. It is a very good morning here. And the sun is shining. I might as well be in Australia. We're having pretty good temperatures here for us. And there's an expectation we might even reach 30. So yesterday was in the late 20s. Had a beautiful full moon last night. And I'd like to say welcome, Judith. Welcome and greetings from the Northern Hemisphere to you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to, tonight, our temperature, because it's winter, we're going to be 0 degrees.
Oh, very good. That'll do nicely. That'll kill everything off that needs to be killed off and leave space for all that needs to be grown.
Well, it's very good for apple trees and pear trees and mulberry trees and grapes and blueberries. They love the cold.
Oh, very good indeed. So you got in touch with us because, and it's a welcome back because I know I didn't see your first show, but for us here in the Northern Hemisphere, you have a particular skill or gift where you read human auras. So I wanted to ask you, for those of us that are ignorant completely and don't really know anything about auras, how would you describe a human aura to somebody who's never even contemplated it?
Well, very simply, very practically, because I don't do the aura. I was born with this ability. And so I've never delved into the New Age or the occult or anything like that. So my language tends to be fairly practical, although I do understand spiritual terms and everything. The human aura, to me, if you ask me straight up, which you've done, is a blueprint of who you are. So how does that occur? The human aura occurs by exactly what you see and what you think, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, the beliefs that you have grown up with in your family and the ones you develop along the way in your life. It's what you read. It's the connections you've got to nature. It's life experiences that you've had, and it's also your dreams. They produce the colours that interpret you. A blueprint of the aura is unique to you, specific to you. There is no copy, and no aura is one colour. It's an electromagnetic field around the body, and it can be charted scientifically.
Wow. So we walk around like a snail with its shell on its back it's our own house. It's everything in house that we carry around with us. Is that a reasonable analogy?
Yes, it's very, very easy. The aura, everybody thinks the aura changes quickly, and it doesn't. The only colours that change are around your head, your thinking, smelling, seeing, hearing apparatus. The rest of it takes on a shape. Somebody might insult you, and you think about it for 3 or 4 days. So that thought and that insult goes to your shoulders. So you carry it forward. And then it might become an issue that you think about your own self-esteem. So you carry that forward. It becomes a belief system. So it locks into your aura. The duration of colours in your aura usually are somewhere between 13, 17 months. And the most important colour in the human aura is under the feet, because everything that you have processed in the last 6 months, 12 months, 15 months has all moved down underneath your feet. And if I look at an aura from the foot upwards, I can tell exactly what you have experienced in the last 12 to 15 months.
Wow.
So I
see
might
what
look
you're
at it.
saying.
I might look at an aura and just say, oh, you've gone through a divorce. Or I might look at the aura and I'd say, oh, you're just about finished your studies. Yes, that gives you the example.
Okay.
And my looking at auras, I haven't. I have been out there in the arena. I filled in the 1990s 3 times. I filled the Ali Pali, if you know what that is.
Do you know the Ali Pali?
Yeah, that's right. I filled that. They thought there would be 300 and 650 people turned up. Anyway, so I've done that, but most of my work has been with law enforcement. It's been with medical research. It's worked with surgeons. It's worked with racehorse trainers, which I did in the UK. That's where my work has taken me.
Okay. And when was the last time you were at Ali Pali?
War zones, and I've worked with refugees.
Oh, right. Wow. So when was the last time you were here in North London at the Ali Pali?
Right up to the year 2000. Then my husband took sick and I nursed him for 22 years. So I stopped touring and writing books and everything.
Okay. And when you were nursing your husband, did you often check in on his aura? Was there any surprises along that route? I mean, that's a very personal.
No, I don't read people's auras unless they ask me to find something for them, because I apply ethics. I believe it's an invasion of personal privacy. So if my husband asked me for something, he would often say to me, how sick am I? And then I would check how sick he was. But I wouldn't go any further than that. No.
Okay.
All through our 54 years together, I never read his aura. Never.
Wow.
No, because
he never asked you.
No, he never asked me, and I won't, because it's an invasion of privacy. Everybody's entitled to their own thoughts and feelings and their own belief systems and everything. You don't want me coming in and examining it and trying to change your thinking.
Fair play.
Wow.
Okay, so when we had you on with Elise for the North American show, you mentioned when you were young, you could read the auras of plants, and you spoke to your grandfather on the principle.
Yes.
You said that there was a conflict with the plants in the way they were packed into the actual garden bed, but also how close proximity. So your grandfather was wise indeed to say, listen, granddaughter, if you like to draw the map of your garden, where the plants should grow, and you went from there to actually write a book called Companion Growing.
Yes, I did that. That was the first book I ever wrote. And I wasn't planning to write it. A literary agent just came and knocked on my front door and asked me if he could talk to me about writing this book, because local newspapers, I was very young, but the local newspapers had me writing columns and that. Yeah, seeing auras of just everything that has energy around it. That's the answer to that, that's what I was born seeing. I don't call it a gift because nobody gave it to me. It was just something I was born with, just like somebody being born able to draw or able to sing or able to build. Some people are born with practical skills and they can fix everything. I was just born seeing energy.
Sure. So, when you look at planting foods, I mean, there's the underground. There's underground food, and then you got food that grows across the topsoil, and then you got the food that you have to reach for. How are you describe? When you start looking at sort of cauliflowers and squash mixed with corn, sweet corn.
That's right. Well, basically, you see energy that fights like cat and dog, like brother and sister. There are certain vegetables that don't like to go with other vegetables. And when you see the energy working between them, then common sense tells you, well, if they're not going to get on, plant them somewhere else. So I've grown all my food. We become self-sufficient over 50 years ago. And we've lived this lifestyle. And all my gardens planted like that. And I have great big tours of, bus tours coming through and all that, just to have a look, and me to take them through the gardens to show that why is that fruit tree growing the way it is, because we moved it over there where it gets on with a companion. We moved it away from something else, and when we get, there are certain plants, like for instance, I describe plants like animals when I'm doing a talk on them, because then people understand them. Like if I say to people, if you had a pet elephant in your backyard, right, how much would you have to feed it and how much would it drink? And everyone goes, oh my God, lots. And I say, well, that's a tomato and that's corn. So anything that needs water, you can't plant around the base of those plants. So what do? Lettuce is 80% water. So that goes around corn, and it will protect the aerial roots of the corn as it grows up, and it will stop it from. Corn is wind pollinated. It's not pollinated by birds and the bees. It's wind pollinated. So it moves like that back and forth. And I grow iceberg and imperial lettuce in between, so that the wind doesn't, when the winds get very strong, they can blow the corn over. And so I plant the iceberg in between to give the moisture to the corn, and so that the wind can't blow them over, because iceberg, as you know, form into a hard core. And they're not a leaf lettuce, and so they stop the corn from falling over.
So when you Red Indians over in North America, they had the principle, what is it called, the Three Sisters from memory? It's corn and beans and squash, where they all the companion growing, but the climbing beans climb up the actual corn, don't they? And the squash.
That's right. Because that's why I classify tomatoes and corn as elephants, because what do you feed them, and what damage do they do? If you get an elephant walk across the ground, what's he going to do? It's going to squash everything. And that's exactly, corn strips everything out of the soil, everything. There's nothing left. So when you want to plant, when you want to do succession planting, you grow climber beans or bush beans. I grow bush beans all around the corn, all around like a little hedge of the corn, and that puts all the nitrogen into the soil that the corn is taking out of the soil. And so the lettuce is holding the corn up and giving it moisture, and the beans are actually replacing the nitrogen that the corn is taking out of the soil.
So then when you're looking at, as when you were young and all that stuff, and you're looking at the energy signature of the plants,
Yes.
was there a different, like if you look at the full spectrum as a color plachette, I mean, how did you know that there was aggression between plants?
Yes.
Quite easy, Jeff. That's easy to answer. Around the plants, there's different shades of grey and different shades of fawn, mushroom colours, right? And the greys make plants vulnerable, and also too, they stress them out. Charcoal grey in the human aura is very depressive. It takes out all of your energy. It's exactly the same with plants. Pale grey in the human aura means that you're a victim of your own circumstances. And that's exactly what happens to a plant if it happens to self-sow in an area where it can't grow properly. You see that same colour. There are similarities, but then it stops because you get little strings of red and orange through it, which shows tension. And around the pale greys, which is vulnerable and victimized, they get dark green around them, which shows the stress of the plant, the stress of the roots more so than the leaves. So the stress is in the soil.
Right. So when you see these particular colors, and then you've got the
Oh.
bees doing their pollination, you've got the wind doing the pollination, and then all of a sudden you see in the background there, I've got kangaroos.
Yeah.
So that kangaroos
I've
jump
got-
into your garden, and obviously they thinking, "Oh my God, we've got a smorgasbord here." Are you watching their favorite particular food, or you're looking at the fact that the color of a plant puts out a vibration that
Yes.
they have warmed to and realize that one's got life force in it, and they go for it? Is that where we're going with this conversation? Yeah.
We have what's called a vital life force in the human aura. It's very thin, very thin. It doesn't exist if we're not here, and if we're dying, it shrinks. If we're in a car accident and it's become very faint, the vital layer has become. This is the work I've done with doctors. The vital layer becomes very, very dull. When it starts to pick up, I'm able to say to the doctors that this person's going to recover. So doctors that I've worked with have said, right, now we can do this and do this, but they weren't sure if they were going to do it. But as soon as the vital life force starts kicking in, they know that that person's going to recover. Why does one person have a heart attack and die? And why does one person have a heart attack and despite not being able to get to a hospital as early as he should, survives? And it's the vital life force, the quality of the vital life force that sits in the aura that has shown that. And it's exactly the same in brand new babies, premature babies like myself, and elderly people. Why does and how does mum, who is 95 years old in a hospital bed, hanging on to life until her 57-year-old son can fly into the United States and she can see him one last time? It's the vital life force that does that. Yeah. When just a minute, Jeff, I'll just explain something else for the disasters that are happening in the world right now. Earthquakes, buildings collapsing and so on. The people who are found underneath the buildings for 5 days, 6 days, 9 days and survive. The vital life force is there, strong, and keeping them alive that time under duress in order so they may go forward and live. That means that they've got some kind of a purpose, whether the purpose is to write a book, whether it's to lecture, whether it's just to marry and rear some fine citizens in their children. It can be as simple as that, but they've got a purpose to live. Their soul has taken them through that. The vital life force has kept them alive. And so it kept, think about World War II. Think about how many people died in concentration camps. Think about the ones who came out of the concentration camp, had the same conditions as everybody else, but survived. Yes, it's the vital life force that keeps us alive.
So how do you... Okay, so talking about the elephant in the room, how do you keep your life force alive? Does that become back to nutrition? Does it come to your lifestyle? Does it come to the fact you require the sun's, vitamin D coming through?
Is it preordained?
Yes, because the richness of the plants, go into a creamy, rich, sparkly colour, not gold, but very cream, and a bit transparent as well. Sunlight on it makes it sparkle. Doesn't sparkle later in the afternoon, but early in the morning it does. And it shows the richness of nutrition.
So you just said something there. Are you saying that the best time to actually eat is in the morning when the vibration of those plants are resonating to the early rays of the sun?
Yeah. All plants are their best after they've rested the night, and then they wake up in the morning. They draw all the minerals up from the topsoil or the subsoil, depending on the roots of the plant, and they feed it up, and they're ready for the sun, the wind, the rain, the bees, the birds, the bugs, everything.
Right.
And what about the nightshade family?
Well, I happen to like the nightshade family. There's a lot of my regional council has asked me if I would come and do a talk for them, for the local community, on friendly weeds, and some of those belong to the nightshade family. I love stinging nettle, absolutely love stinging nettle. I grow it in great big pots. The nightshade family, well, you're looking at the potatoes and all that go into that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, because they've got leaves on the surface, and so the leaves on the surface are trying to pull everything in. Some of the leaves are shaped in a certain way that you just get dew on the leaves, and the leaves will bend like that to capture them, and they'll run down the stem and go down the stem and down the stalk and into the soil. That's always surface-rooted plants do that. Yeah, it's fascinating watching nature. Fascinating.
So I thought the characteristics of the nightshades was that they perform better at night, rather than during the day.
Well, you've got the root going down underneath, right? And so that's doing its work. And then you've got the leaves that have to turn green. They need sunlight to do that. And so and they catch the moisture as well, and the rain, and trap the rain to feed that. So yes, they work night and day. A lot of plants don't work night and day, but the likes of the nightshade family work night and day.
Okay.
So we're in the food chain, and we're taking the vegetables and the fruits.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're participating in the vibration of those particular foods that are coming through. And you're saying, the next part of the conversation would be, you're preparing a garden bed that's making it very healthy for them to actually get their vitamins to actually enrich, well, not only themselves but us as part of the food chain.
Yeah.
That's how.
And there are some times that you have a garden and you don't have good soil, and so what do you do? Well, you get the legumes in and you let the legumes do the work. So you put your peas in, you put your beans in, and they'll draw all the nitrogen out of the atmosphere and put it straight into the ground. And then after 18 months, you'll start to get good topsoil. So what likes good topsoil? There's a lot of plants go deep, and so they're heading down into the subsoil. A lot of the nutrients in soil is in the subsoil. That's because in England, it can be soddened with so much rain that the nutrients will be lost. In Australia, it gets burnt alive and sunbaked. So the nutrients go down to the subsoil and stay there for their own protection. Then that forces plants to go down and get those and bring them up to the surface. And so you've got all different plants that behave differently in the garden. I say to people, if you've got a garden of rocks or a garden of sand, well, sand's a good start, because sand has got thousands and thousands and thousands of years of minerals in it. And all you've got to do is add fibre, and you've got soil. You've got very good soil that you don't have to fertilise for the next 10 years. Stone actually becomes a heat bank. And so if you're in a cold climate and you need to extend the life of your plants just that one extra month or extra 6 weeks to get it to ripen, you've got stones around there. They'll conduct the heat for you and trap the heat in the ground. It's all different ways of growing things. I've taught people in Canada, Alaska, Iceland, Norway, how to grow food.
All right. So the subject today is all about the aura and about the.
Yes.
Well, of course.
Somehow we went out into the.
No, that's okay. There was all part.
Jeff.
I know, but there was a part of mindset here was the fact that you did as a youngster, you told your grandfather that, hey, these plants are not talking to each other and they aggro. Yeah. So
when my grandfather was growing his vegetables and I saw this, my grandparents, all my family was well aware of what I saw and what I did. And by the time I got to that age, by the time I got to 6 or 7, everybody knew it was true. They got used to it. They think, oh, here she goes again. What's she saying? And my grandfather listened, and he got me to write it down, and I wrote it down, and then he used it the next year, the next season, and it worked better. He got more tomatoes off his tomato plant. He got a greater abundance of potatoes in his garden. His cabbages were bigger than normal.
Right. So the reason we went into that subject was to show the actual food chain and how that affects our mental and our physical, emotional body.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as a youngster, was seeing the auras and seeing how young children and teachers, you could see the aura flashed out and realize they were telling lies or they were telling the truth. And so we started off in the food kingdom, then we go to the animal kingdom, then we go to the human kingdom. So observing the different frequencies of the spectrum based on life force that you just mentioned, and also of the food and the lifestyle that a person has, impact on the actual energetic output that a human's putting out, or the animal's putting out, or even the plant's putting out. Priti, where would you like to take this conversation now?
Well, we live in a vibrating world. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what do you see when you look at me and you look at Jeff for our auras? If that's okay to ask you, Jeff, as well.
Well, you're blurred.
I blew it.
No, there's no such thing as one colour in the human aura. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the whole thing is that I don't do auras on national or international platforms, because there's sometimes things there that people don't know that are going to be revealed, and I don't. Yes, I've had that experience. If you take my thing, colours around your head is that I've looked at Jeff before tons and tons and tons of times. If I was just pick out little characteristics, right? Just pick out, and they're not getting them around the head. They're more towards the shoulder. Jeff likes to pick up information from everywhere. He's got a broad spectrum of information that he wants to learn from all different types of genres, and then he wants to dissect it, and then he wants to work out what he's accepting. But he's a networker, and he tells everybody about the book he's just read, or the music he just heard, or the whatever, because he gets excited by learning. So that's that, right? And then if we look at you, you are and this is one of the reasons I said to Jeff, when I see people for the first time, this is something I can do in the aura. I take them back until they were 3 years old, right? And then I see how cute and inquisitive they were. And I said to Jeff, I said, oh, God, Pauline. I said, she was the sweetest little 3-year-old. And that's how we got this interview, Pauline.
Yes.
all because of you and your three-year-old. Yes. Well, for looking just as you, just as a little sort of little tidbits, right? Just looking at you. Okay. Yours is more steady. You're more steadfast, but at times you find yourself scattered and not being able to cope with everything that you're thinking that you're going to do. That's part of your characteristic. The other thing that happens is that you like to help people, and you don't like to be, you're out the front now, but you don't normally like to be out the front. You prefer to help people. Yeah. So that's just a little bit of you. And not only that, you were a very, very nice little cutie pie.
And the cutie pie, this little 3-year-old absolutely adores the idea of staying at 3 years of age and being a cutie pie and inquisitive and childlike, but not
Yes.
necessarily
Well,
childish.
if we compare Jeff, you take Jeff down to when he was 3, he was the child who undid the lid to see what was in the bottle. He was the child who unscrewed he was the child that unscrewed everything. And what did you unscrew that for? I wanted to see how it worked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pull
the universe apart. Have a look how you put the universe together.
Yes, I like taking everybody down to 3 years old because it shows the development of character.
Right. So let's get into this aura of the human body, and
Yes.
And all the different stages of life that individual goes through, or a couple goes through, or a family goes through.
Yes.
So where do we start here, love? I mean, some anecdotal stories that have come through?
Well, what people need to know about the human aura is that it's there, it exists. It's not something mythical, it's scientifically proven. So let's get that straight, right? Now, the next thing about an aura is people often say to me, how do I protect my aura? How do I protect my energy? Everybody taking my energy, and I feel as though I'm being attacked energetically. No. There are certain things that keep your aura strong. And one is if you have a compassionate mind, right? That's you in a nutshell there, Pauline. If you have a compassionate mind, you have something, an apricot colour in your aura. An apricot colour is the colour of friendship and companionship. So it will always try to find something good in someone to help them. That's what it does. That's Pauline. And so what we do is we have to know exactly how to feed our mind. And that's our conscious mind. You see, we are a walking camera. We take photographs with our eyes and we listen with our ears and we store all of this in our head. So what we are fed as young children coming up, that all shows in the aura. You can see in a 5-year-old child the tension of mum drinking heavily, dad going to work, fights in the night. You can see it in the child, right? But then again, you can see it in a child who's got doting grandparents and aunties and uncles and plays with their cousins. And you see that. And so it's very important what we feed ourselves, because our brain can manifest whatever it is. It can repeat patterns. It can get depressed very easily. It can become hopeless, forlorn, non-forgiving, aggressive, violent. It can do whatever it wants to do. And so what we put into our self reflects in our aura. I've done a lot of work with criminals and in the law enforcement work, and you see a part of that somebody loves. There's always a small part that somebody loves, you know. It can be a mass murderer, but that mass murderer's mother still loves him. Yeah. Yes, and there's this redeeming pattern that comes in all of us. So the human aura, if you think about it, the human aura is a blueprint of who you are. So it's a reflection of everything you fill your life with, everything. If you're a reader, it's growing your understanding of the world around you and your concept of self and your concept of life itself. And it helps you to cope with relationships and the ins and outs of tragedies that happen in all of our lives, throughout our lives. You live long enough, you get to my age, and just about everybody around you that you've ever loved has died. And so you're starting to think, well, who's alive? Who's alive? I've just lost the last of my aunties a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and so the human aura is not what everybody thinks it is. They think of it. People say to me, oh, what color is my aura? There's no such thing. Your auras are massive colors. Think about how complex your life is. If your life is simple and you live on a desert island, you've got a very simple aura. But if you happen to be a mum with 3 children to get off to school, she's got to go to work, he's going to work, she's managing the money, managing the budget, her aura is all over the place because of all the things that she's got to do. If you take an entrepreneur, you take somebody studying for a PhD, their auras are complex in a different way. So the aura reflects the colours. So the colours around your head are how you think and feel and see and smell and taste of that. They come down to your shoulders to sift what's necessary and what's unnecessary. And then the colours that's sorted move down into your life, into your arms, to beginning how you are going to challenge life, how you're going to conduct life, choices you're going to make. Are you moving forward with fear, anxiety, or excitement? They show that. Colours in your hands show your characteristics and also any sort of little talents or natural abilities you've got. What's disappeared in hands that was there for years and years and years when I was growing up, there was always brown around the hands. Brown is practicality and common sense, and it's disappearing in auras everywhere I've been, just disappearing. It's not there. People are losing practical application in their life and common sense decision making. So when the colours come down underneath the arms, that shows under the armpits, that shows that you're moving and shaping a belief system. So that could be need to change my job or starting a new job. Oh, going to do this university course, planning to have a baby, planning to get married, all those types of things. So that shows that engagement. As it comes down the torso, as it comes down towards the hips and that starts to shape into patterns. And the aura can be checks, it can be stripes, it can be polka dots, it can be triangles, it can be all different types of patterns depending on what you're doing, how slow or fast you're doing it, when you plan to do it, and whether or not you believe you'll be successful. They shape all the patterns in your aura. The colours that come down the legs of your aura show you whether or not you're committed to what you are doing. So for a lot of people, they might want to do something, but round the calf muscle of the aura, it shows that they're going to take 3 steps forward and 6 steps back. They're not going to get, very far. And then other people might have caution. They might be nervous. They might want to do a course, but they don't have the money to pay for it. The aura, as you can, I'm trying to paint you a picture of how complicated it is. Yes. And then the colours down under I can give you a perfect example of what happens under your feet. Young couple come to me, engaged to be married, and I do her aura. She's in love. She's madly in love. She's planning a house. She's saving money. Or everything was in her aura. Took it over to him. Down, everything, all love, all that, all up the top. But down around the feet was sepia, was fawn, was mushroom colours, and also lemon yellow, lemon lime. And that's lying, that's deceitfulness. And that was down there. And I'm looking at it. And I thought, oh, God, what do I do here? So I decided to go deeper into the astral layer of the aura, which is several layers. And that's where all the information of all time of your life, past, present, and future, is stored. So I went into the 5th layer of the astral layer of the aura to try and find some information to understand exactly what these patterns were. And then I just casually leant over and said to him, you're in another relationship and I think there's children there. And I said, are you married? And he said, yes.
Okay, and that's quite a revelation. And presumably that was just with him and not necessarily with her in the room at the same time.
Oh, yes, she found out. She found out, and right in front of me, they had this great big argument.
Oh. There and then?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so when it's time to reveal something, it's time.
Well, I'll give you another example that I love to give because it's a happy story. I had a young man come to me and he was trying to sort out what he would do with his life. He didn't like his job. He was thinking about retraining and everything. And he had really good colours, but rather confused, a bit frustrated, and a bit slow to the uptake.
Okay.
And then I looked down at his feet and I went, oh, what's that doing there? So I looked around the aura to find out why this very powerful colour had arrived at his feet, and I couldn't find a trace. Went into the astral layer of the aura again to try and find the answer to this, and I found the answer, and I said to him, I said, look, you're in the right place at the right time for the right opportunity, and if it was me, I'd go and buy a lottery ticket. And he went, what? And I said, I'd go and buy a lottery ticket. I'd do something. And anyway, he won the lottery. He won the lottery. Yeah. He sent me a check for $10,000 and I tore it up. And I said to him, if you want to give that money away, give it to a charity. I said, I was just an instrument for your action. So there are good things that aren't connected that are happening to you. Sometimes people from their knees downwards, there can be a past life opening up. And then I always look to see where that's going. Is it going to link them up with a new relationship? Are they going to do a course that they started in a past life and they're going to complete it in this lifetime? Or are they making a choice to completely migrate to another country? Yeah. So you've got to understand what it's doing. Yeah.
It's all on the feet, eh?
Yep. Go for the feet. If I get this is something the police said to me, back in the early 1990s. One of the detectives just said, "Give her the feet, and she can read it as fast as a street sign."
Very
and
good.
then presumably they have to build a story and the evidence around whatever you're telling them.
Yeah, yes. I've worked on the cases I've worked on though have been big. I've had to sign the Official Secrets Act a couple of times. Yes. And when I was in London,
Yes.
BBC sent a message where I was working. It sent a message and asked me if I would be part of a documentary they were making. So I did that in the 1990s while I was there in London at the time. They came down and followed me around and filmed me. That was for the Horizon program. And then I got a phone call from somebody and said, could I go down to Britain's world famous horse trainer? So I went down to his house, saw all his horses and everything, because one that was going to run the, is it the Grand National?
Yeah, we have a Grand National.
That's it. That the horse was running the Grand National and it won the other races in the lead up, but it thrown its leg out in the last race. So they wanted me to come down because the vets had tried everything and they just couldn't get the horse up to par. And so I went down and looked at the horse, and it was such a funny thing. Now, Jeff, you'll love this because you like interesting things. They said to me, we'll take a shortcut. We'll walk through this stable and we'll get to the horse up in the other stable. So we'll take this shortcut. I was walking through the stable with the trainer and with the vet, and I stopped, and the the stable hand was there, and I said, has that horse been sneezing and coughing? And she said, yes. And I looked around and I said, has that one up there has the one over there? And she said, yes. I said, they're allergic to that straw, whatever it is. And the trainer walked back and said, what's this? And she said, oh, yes, they've all been doing that for a week. He said, I wasn't told. He said, where did we get this straw from? And then the trainer looked at me and said, these horses are worth thousands. He said, the horse we're going to see is worth millions. So can we please get to this horse? So I went up to the horse and they took the horse out in the yard, and I looked at the horse and I said to the vet, I said, right, what have you done? And he told me. And I said, well, this is lodged in. So what we've got to do, we've got to get the bruising. We've got to pull, it's internal bruising. We've got to pull it out to the surface. And I said, so do you know what comfrey is? And he said, yes. And I said, do you know how to make a poultice? And he went, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the vet and the trainer said, what are we doing? And the vet says, doesn't matter. He said, I know what to do. I know what to do. Anyway, I was working in Ireland when I got the phone call. I was sitting in an Irish pub when I get the phone call from the trainer saying that the horse was fit and ready to run. Yeah.
Just through the comfrey poultice.
Yeah, through the pulse, and the horse came second, I think, in the race. Second, yeah.
Okay. And about the straw, what was the problem with the straw?
Well, wherever it was harvested from, the horses were allergic to it. There were 5 horses in the stable of about 16 horses, and they were allergic to it. I don't know where it came from. I just this horse caught my attention, and I turned around and I looked at its aura, and I went, oh, right. And so I looked everywhere else, and I found 5 others. Fortunately, the stable hand was there, and I was able to ask her. Yeah. So there's something auras do.
Wow. Can I take you back to the story of the married man and the lady?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, with the yellow and that. And it's on the astral plane. So would they have had an agreement, a soul contract, in order for him to teach her a lesson and her to teach him a lesson, so that there was a kind of contract?
Yeah.
And hers was about the revelation of deception and something else, and his was about, well, just being himself.
Well, what you
how
find,
would one interpret that?
What the human aura tells you is that you see the soul families and soul mates have a sign in the aura. It's a little tiny pearl shape, and it's the color of pearl, and it sits under the armpit, usually on the right, just sits up there in the joint of the shoulder there. And when they're together, you can see that they're connected. When they're apart, it disappears. I found that fascinating. I found that many, many years ago and wasn't sure what it was. And then I realized that when they're together, it appears in the aura so that they can communicate on a soul level. When he goes to work and she goes to work, they don't need it because they don't communicate with anybody at work on a soul level. So that's what I've understood about that. We all have soul families which challenge and nurture us at the same time, and that's what the aura shows. What you're saying, Pauline, yes, there are many lessons, but the soul doesn't have contracts. The soul purpose in the aura, the soul purpose in the aura, as it's shown, is to make a difference to your own life, make a difference to somebody else's life, make a difference to the world around you, and it's to make a difference. So if, for instance, I give you an example of a mass murder that happened in Australia, these 3 men, anyway, this woman, it was tragic how she died. What came out of that was a support group started for people who had been in such violent tragedy. the families, a support group there. Then insurance policies changed for life insurance. That changed slightly. Government changed the law slightly, just a twig to the law. So the catalyst was for not just her dying in that way and the men going into their life sentences as they did. It was for the families. The mother said, they're good boys. And the wife said, he's a doting husband and a fabulous father. And so they were going through, look at all the lessons that go through there, all that processing. Having someone that is lived with you and you wonder whether it was a lie, what you saw, or whether or not it was the truth. So it's making a difference. So out of that, I watched this because what the difference it made. It made the fact that all of a sudden it set up a support group with support groups that over a period of 2 years developed all over the country for people whose family were victims of traumatic crimes, right? Had to, so that they could cope. Changes in laws. Yeah. And also too, there's another thing that happened with that. There was a change in the social workers courses, teaching them how to deal with this. Youth counsellors got a change in their courses as well. So it went into educational courses as well. So what an impact.
More than meets the eye.
Yes. And so
Because
when you
what
look at
meets
that,
the eye
when you
is
look at that couple, they were engaged to be married. They weren't married, but they were engaged to marry. He was just stringing her along. Hers was to, the lesson there for her, you can never clearly define it, but it was to make a difference. And what he did for her, what that did for her, and the universe bringing them to me so that I saw it, was the difference, was the catalyst to her to save her from making a huge mistake. That's one there. And then she will go on to make a difference in some way. He will go on to look at life differently as well. How that develops, I don't know, because I didn't follow them. But as a soul, our life is to make a difference. And if you are a writer and your writing touches the lives of hundreds of people, you've made the difference. If you're doing a podcast like this and it reaches thousands of people and makes an impact, you're making a difference. So the soul's role in this life is not to pay back, not to punish. It's not the fact that, like I did an aura for a lady in Canada. I really wanted to help her because she's got her husband was killed in a car accident 5 years ago. She's got an autistic son that doesn't talk, and she was trying to work out the best way of communicating with him. I was able to remote view. That means from a distance, from here in New South Wales to Canada, and have a look at it. And I found out a past life where they had reverse roles. So I went into the astral layer of the aura to find out what the lesson was in there. And it wasn't a lesson at all. It was a new way of learning different levels of loyalty, commitment, and love. That's all.
Beautiful. I just wanted to.
In souls, there's no punishment. There's no punishment.
No.
The soul doesn't. Souls in the human aura, as it shows in the human aura, don't recognize a mistake.
No.
They just recognize it as an experience. Yes.
Okay. I will reveal a couple of from what you've said, and I'll interpret it personally. The very first time my Auntie Anne met me as a baby, she and her husband Jim, who moved to Australia, and they emigrated to Australia, and we followed later. But the first time she met me as a baby, 10 days old, she looked at me and said to everyone, she's different. She's different. And then
The auntie could be in your soul family.
Yeah, and then the next thing was I actually got married in apricot. That was the colour that I married in, and it had little gold stripes all the way down. And I designed the dress myself when my Auntie Anne came over from Australia, and she was visiting. So there's some correlation there with what you've said, and some little other bits and pieces. And I'm probably still just a 3-year-old.
Well, when one of the things you learn about a human aura, because it's a blueprint of who you are, it doesn't tell lies. No. Auras do not tell lies. I mean, it's there. It's there who you are. Let's get into soul families, because that's a question that people ask about. How do you know about a soulmate and whatever? Really, in the aura showing with the soul, there's no such thing as a soul mate, as we call it. Okay. You're not destined to meet a soul mate, but there are soul families that we travel with. And in my family, my mother is a soul part of my soul family. My eldest brother is part of that. I'm in a family of boys, and my father, they're not part of my soul family. My father-in-law is, my deceased father-in-law was a wonderful part of my soul family for 42 years of his life. And my husband was part of the soul family. I have a friend who lives in Victoria, who's part of a male, who's a part of my soul family as well. Soul families. Now, soul families challenge and nurture. Everybody thinks you're going to find a soulmate and you're going to live happily ever after. No. Relationships take work, and they take give and take, right? But when you have apricot in your aura, which is companionship and friendship, if you've both got that, no matter what kind of thing you go through, a flood or a bushfire or a tornado or an earthquake, you will still be bonded together, right? Because you've got friendship and companionship, and they're the stability of love. Love grows from that. Love has pale colours. It's sensitivity. It's pale blue. It's pink, which is doting on sensibility and loves the feeling of it and elation and so on. They can dissipate. That's why you can fall in love with someone and then move on to somebody else, right? They dissipate. But when you've got the apricot of companionship and friendship underneath it, that's the stability for love to be able to change its face and its shape in anything. For instance, you could be happily married. I know a couple like this, absolutely happily married in their early 20s. When she was 27 and he was 29, he was in a major car accident. They were planning to have a family. They didn't have a family. She was working full-time, had to give up full-time because he became disabled and was not able to have children. So she nursed him and nursed him. She's still nursing him today. Why? Because they've got apricot sitting underneath that love, and it's supporting it. It's supporting it. And that's what happens to people. Once you've got that, and we look at somebody like Paul and I being married for 54 years before he died, apricot sits there. If you look at a couple that have been married for a long, long, long time, or lived together for a long, long time, gay couples living together for, 40, 50 years and whatever, their companionship's underneath all that love. That's where love comes from. So when you're looking, people are saying, when do I find my soulmate? No. You have to develop your friendship and your companionship first. A soulmate isn't attracted to you. You just don't find them. And if you're a person who is worried about everything and depressed and won't go out and worried about money and all that, you're very unlikely to attract anybody because you're not advertising it. What you're advertising, everybody instinctively reads everybody's aura. Hasn't everybody here met someone for the first time and felt as though they've known them all their life?
Yep.
Or be to a place and think, why? I've never been here before. Why do I feel as though I've been here before? And it nags.
Deja vu.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Well, the Celtics have a way of describing, and it's beautifully written by a book by John O'Donoghue, the Anam Cara. Do you have something? Have you come across this book?
No, I haven't come across the book, but I've done.
Okay.
I've been to the UK lots of times.
Right. Well,
Lots
the
of
Anam
times.
Cara is like a friendship, a
Mhm.
soul friendship, where it goes beyond all the bounds of normal
Yes.
social conventionality.
Yes.
It's indescribable from the outside
Yes.
as to why the people have, they reveal themselves to their Anam Cara, the friend to the soul.
Yes.
And it's nothing to do with being married. It's nothing to
Nope.
do with anything. There's no
Nope.
social conventionality. In fact, it breaks all of that.
Yep.
Because there is an intimacy between the two people.
Yes.
And it's beautifully described by John
I fully
O'Donoghue.
Fully agree with that. Yes,
Okay.
I do. Yeah. I've done so much work on all different areas of the human aura, because being born with this, it's just a natural inquisitive stage that you go through studying it. I've spoken to Jeff in detail about what it's like working in a war zone, the experiences that you get in that. But getting back to soul families are huge. Give you an example. Just say two travelers, one traveler, and she's flying around the world, and she gets to London. She wants to, she thinks, before I go back to Germany, I'll stop in London and I'll spend a week there, or maybe 10 days there. All her bags go off to the USA. She's got very little money, and she's got some documents stored in those bags. She doesn't know what to do. She comes across somebody. She's sitting at the airport, comes across somebody. Somebody says, "Oh, are you all right?" She said, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got lost this and what." And the person says to her, "Well, look, I've got a friend, and she's got a flat nearby. I'll ring her." And she goes there, and she meets a soulmate in a soul family, and they become friends for the rest of their life. There are people all over the world. I've got soul members in America that I've met. I've got soul members in the UK that I've met. Soul members in Ireland that I've met. I think everybody in Ireland wanted me to be a member of their soul family. That's the wacky Irish, yeah. But now the soul, being in a soul family doesn't make life easy. You can be in a combative family and have soul members in it. Soul members, we travel in soul groups. Some of us travel in a soul group of 50, others 150, depending on what you're doing with your life and how far that's going to reach people. And those soul families, you can be combative. That's a couple who fight day and night, never agree on anything, but stay together for 60 years, fighting like that. We all know who they are. We get those from time to time, and you think, why are they living together? But they do. They fight like cat and dog, and they will be members of each other's soul family, and so they combat and challenge in order to grow. You could have a child that grows up in a family, nice little boy, gets to 15 or 16, gets into a bit of trouble, runs mum and dad through the courts and child welfare systems and everything, can't figure out what's happening with their son, grows up to be 30 and 40, turns around, completely changes his life, makes a difference in the world. Members of soul families test but nurture at the same time. So the test is there. The apricot hangs on to that child. The apricot hangs on to the couple that are combative. and they learn to live together. And what you do with that couple who are combative, you'll find that there they are at each other's deathbed, 50 years on, 60 years on, and she says to him, "Do you love me?"
Aw.
And he says, "Oh, well, we've been together that long. Must be." And that's it. That's it. That's it. And so you
Best
look
you're
back.
gonna get.
That's right. Well, this is it. And you get couples who are that way inclined. They rear their children in that environment, and their children repeat the patterns, because we are what we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we taste. And that comes into, I'm a great believer in enlightening children. I've done a lot of work on auras with kids, refugees, little ones, 5 and 6 years old, who have witnessed family being murdered in front of their eyes, coming to a country where they don't speak the language, and having to learn to live together. What appears in their aura is something that appears at birth, and that is the fact that there's a group of colours which I call primal colours. They're tribal colours, and they come into our aura when we need help from everyone. So a little child coming in as a refugee with no family will have that colour in their aura, and that means that they will welcome nurturing, love, support, financial assistance from those people. You get it in your aura, the tribal, that primal colour also comes into your aura if you are trapped in something, if you're trapped under the ground, if you're trapped in a fire, if you're trapped in a flood, it comes in there. And that allows you to connect to strangers and allow them to help you. Normally in society, people would say, well, what do you want? People would say, oh, do you want to help? No. And they stay clear of them. But when the tribal colour comes in, it's instinctive. It's instinctive. So that means that they'll let the firemen help them get off the roof. They'll board the boat that's going through the flood, and it's going to save their life, because these tribal colours come into the human aura. So there's lots of things that come into the aura when we need them.
Okay. So it's quite a dynamic sphere.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was doing a little bit of research beforehand, and
Yep.
I've come across something called an aura camera, where it transforms your phone into a unique aura visualization and interpretations. Do you have anything that you might say about that integration of technology with us as humans and our instinctual nature?
Yes. I have been for about 2 years now. I've been working with a technician in Taiwan, who has developed. We've been developing a software package for people to be able to interpret what's going on in their life. Because I'm one person, and I'm getting old, and I'm trying to leave the world with an understanding of who they are as an individual person, mind, body, and spirit. And so with the software package that we've developed, I've done all of the provisions on that. I've been an advisor at every stage of it. I've worked out the combination of the colours and the patterns and where they're located in the body, and how they move and what passes on and what stays with you, how complex, how easy, how spiritually enlightened things are. I've done the whole lot. I've worked non-stop with him for the last 2 years to develop this, because people get an aura camera photo done, and they put their hand on a plate, and it does nothing. It just tells them nothing. You've got to get instinctively what and who you are. You've got to know it. Most people have got an understanding of what's going on in their life, so they know at least 45-50% of their aura. They may not know what they're hanging on to from something that they saw or witnessed when they were 7 years old. They may not know that because they've blanked it out. The mind has a powerful way of allowing us to cope.
Yeah. Right. And what's the availability of that, the Aura camera? Is that something that's already online or it's coming online?
Yes,
Where are
yes,
you with
yes,
the development?
yes. I think I sent you a link. I think I did send you a link to where that can be bought. It's coming in from Taiwan. It's only available on Android systems at the moment. Apple are assessing it at the moment. They rejected it on a couple of occasions because they saw it as being esoteric.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, well, they thought it was out there in the make believe land. That's where they thought it was, and so we've been pushing. Yeah, we've been pushing with Apple. Yeah, but anyway, it's on the Android system. Yeah,
and so can people get hold of that for themselves? And what's the process?
Yeah, they do. They click on that link and they can get through to that link. Yes.
And then when they read that, what do you do? Do a selfie and have a look at your own aura?
Yes. What it will do, it will give reflections of things that are going on in their life in colours, and it'll help them understand what's going on in their life. If it's, say, for instance, you're feeling down and you can't lift yourself no matter what you've done, and you think, oh, is it the vitamins? I haven't been taking my vitamins. What is it that I can't get going? And it can give you insights into those types of things. It's designed to help people on a day-to-day basis. That's what it's designed to do. I'm a practical person. I've used auras practically all my life. They've helped me in great set of circumstances in my life, and I'm trying to get people to understand what it is. I have no part in this. I just helped to develop it to make sure that if it was going out, it had to be right. I wasn't going to put my hand up to anything that was going to be flash in the pan. And not be helpful to anybody, because auras to me are self-counseling, self-analysis, self-counseling. You can. I've worked in hospitals where doctors have done surgery and the person's not responding, and they call me in, and I've gone into the ward and said dot, and they go, oh right, all right, well we'll look at that and they'll test that. I've been in and people have come back to hospital after having surgery, still having the pain. Doctors will call me in because none of the tests are showing, none of the scans show where this pain is coming from. And they call me in and I see it. Do I see the pain? The answer is no. What does it look like in the aura? Colour draws out of it and it gets a shadow. That's all. There's no grey or black patches or anything. There's no black in the human aura. We'll expel that straight away. There's no black in the human aura. Charcoal grey is as dark as you get, and it's not a good colour to have. It will suck you dry. It is a depressive colour to have in your aura. Bankrupt people who have gone bankrupt and lost everything, house and home to it, often get charcoal sitting in their aura. And so the colours that you get in the aura have got to be self-expressive. Yes. So you've got to feed your brain the right stuff. And with children, getting to children, my children's stories that I wrote, I recorded them in a professional studio, and there's two stories. One is Mother Nature's Wish, and the other one is Talking with the Stars. And it takes a child aged 5 to about 10, 11, 12. It takes that child through a whole journey of life experience with a spiritual understanding and also an environmental understanding. And it's full of songs which become affirmation chants. I call my brother sun. I call my sister moon. I'm calling Mother Nature as I sing my earthly tune. Those types of things so it's a chant in that. The journey to the stars is looking at the energy that we've got between Earth and all creation that we've got. Yes. And so they're set with songs, they're set with music, they're audio. Yes, they're on my website. They can be downloaded on my website.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So what for the future for you then?
The future for me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting closer to 80. That's my future.
Sounds like it's time for a party.
Well, when my husband was dying, he said to me, he said, the moment I die, he said, the moment I'm off your plate, he said, the universe is just going to reach out and grab you. And it was true, because in come the interviews and so on. So what do? I offer on my website, I offer a service called Aura Insights Q&A, where people can send 3 pressing questions for understanding and explanation. I like to do it remotely. My reason being is I can spend as much time on it as I want to. If I need to go deeper to find answers and resolve issues, then I can do that. And so I do that for people. That's a service I offer for people. Yeah.
And I hear you saying that you do it because you can spend more time and get to the core issues and what it is.
Yes.
But is there a notion? Is there a notion that maybe a person could easily be overwhelmed by all of the information that is within their aura? And, one step at a time, little by little, let's not just do this so that the person can integrate it and not go.
Well, the aura reveals, you're right, because the aura reveals a lot. But even with the 3 questions, if I find something that's leading to it or relating to it, or something I think they need to know to understand the situation, I put that in as well. So people just don't get 3 answers to their questions. They often get pages of it.
All right. So is it written or is it audio?
No. It's written. I send it to them PDF. Elisa in America just got hers done.
Oh. Very good. We're going to have to ask her about that if she wants to reveal any of it. Excellent.
Well, I don't know that she'll reveal any of it because it was very personal. And and she's come back to me, and we've done a little bit more extra stuff on it as well.
Okay, very good, very good.
Oh, she's a lovely lady.
Yes, it's been a very engaging conversation. I'm captivated by the whole magic of an aura, really. And there we are. We're walking around with our auras, and we don't even know it. And we've got almost an encyclopedia all about ourselves.
Yes.
Just
the astral layer
down the high street.
Well, the astral layer, the aura, you've got the etheric, you've got the physical, which is just slightly close to your body, and that relates to everything physical. So if you have a limb removed, it shows in the physical layer of the aura. If you have your appendix removed, it shows in the physical layer. If you've had a couple of babies, they show in the physical layer of the aura. So that's what that does. And then next to it is the etheric, and it's a twin layer. The first layer of the etheric supports the physical, and so if you need energy to come through to the physical body, that layer of the etheric can bring it through to the physical layer of the aura to the physical body. So that tells you how that works. The next twin is linked to the astral layer, and the astral layer is our past, present, and our future. It's where our mind, our eternal mind, or our higher self lives. It's up there in the astral layer of the aura. In the astral layer of the aura is where we can past life regress and get information. It's where we can meditate and get insightful information. It's where we can astral project out of our body. That's where we get that. And it's where near-death experience occurs and attaches. It's full of the most brilliant, brightly coloured colours that we don't have down here on our earth. We don't have the huge array of shades of the colours that are in the astral layer of the aura. When I was a little girl, I thought it had 5 layers. Then when I got to my teens, I thought it had 11. Now I know it's got over 30 layers in it, and they're all particularly important to our reality in the past and in the present and in the future. When we die, because I've watched lots of people die, this is what doctors have given me so the doctors get the understanding of what happens when we die, right? And so medical research that I've done and I've watched as children, adults and elderly people, and it's all the same. What happens, the solar plexus opens up, the aura, which is a veil over the top of the chakras, is sucked in like a vacuum cleaner very, very quickly, 1-2 seconds, and it attaches. And the twin layer of the etheric breaks through the physical, and it attaches with the astral layer of the aura, and then that goes off. So when we reincarnate, that astral layer of the aura and that twin etheric comes back with us. And that's the processes of our aura in our life.
All right. Okay.
So, dreaming the new dream. Do you have a new dream for us?
A new dream.
This is the name of the show.
World.
Oh,
love and peace in the world.
Rightio.
Excellent. Jeff, do you have any more questions?
No, time to wind it up, and we'll have a conversation after the show.
Excellent. Well, thank you very, very much for being with us, Judith. It's been a pleasure to have a conversation with you, and I'm delighted that the Northern and the Southern Hemisphere are still continuing.
I've just thought of something.
Can
I add something? Jeff, can I add just one thing?
Hang on.
As you're walking around, the processes of your aura allow you to experience up to 100 times a day skills and experiences from previous lifetimes.
Wow.
It can be the food that you eat, the people that you share your work life with, your home life, with the neighborhood you live in. It could be the work that you do, the interests you've got, the hobbies that you have, the books that you read, the education you've had, the schools that you've been through. It's everything. And the aura from the astral layer of the aura allows you to make connections to be able to cope and live in the world. Because if you need extra coping skills to complete a course, you will bring through those skills from a past life where you have completed courses to give you the inspiration and the stamina to complete your course here.
Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant. It's a bit like I know someone who knows someone, and we're all connected within six connections of each other. So when we want to do something, when the will is engaged, you're saying that the aura and the astral layer will attract those that will help you, even if it's past lives that you have no cognitive awareness of at the make It's just a miracle.
Once you start tuning into your own aura, you can make the connections. You can quite easily make the connections. Like you might have a man who is an engineer, but he's able to fix his car. He's able to fix something on the house because he's done it in previous lifetimes. He picks up a book, he reads the book, he says, "Oh, that's how you do it." Never looks at the book again and does it. Does the plumbing, does the electrical, does everything, and because he's done it before, and the aura brings it through. It doesn't have to be something you meditate. It automatically comes through.
Okay, cool. Right, so let's get on with an automatic life. Yee-hee! Thank you very, very much, Judith. And
My
thanks
pleasure.
again, Jeff. It's great to connect always. All right, thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.